Another aspect to positioning is deciding the order in which the elements are stacked, like which element goes on top, which element goes behind. So here we are, we have our basic HTML that we've been working with today, the wrapper around the 4 divs. If you look at the styles in the downloaded code, you can see the divs still all have borders, the wrapper is still behaving as it was before, it's centered with padding and its width delineated. But I added height and width and a background color to each of our divs. So if we look at our code, let me just open that up and there we go. Close some other stuff. This is our code right now. Once again, nothing is positioned, so everything is going according to the normal flow. One item stacked on top of the other. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's go ahead and start playing with some positioning. Now, once again, I'm gonna absolutely position this. Let me just get over here, and I'm gonna say top 30 px for pixels, left 40 pixels. All right, great. I'm just gonna copy and paste this actually so we can move quickly. And I'll just change the attributes for each of them as we move along. I'm going to absolutely position all 4 divs. I'm going to put them so they're all kind of clustered around the top left. And we're going to see what happens. So position absolute on 1, 30 pixels from the top, 40 pixels from the left. We'll say 60 pixels from the top, and then 100 pixels from the left. Oops, 100. And then we'll say 10 pixels from the top for div 3, 70 pixels from the left, and then finally number 4, we'll say 200 pixels from the top and 10 pixels from the left. So if we now look at this and open it up, oh, you can see it's not paying attention to the wrapper div. We forgot one thing. And if you remember from the last video, we forgot to position the wrapper div so these would then pay attention to it instead of the browser window. So once again, we're going to add a positioning to the container element. The wrapper contains these elements that makes it the parent of these elements. So we're going to say position relative, because that doesn't move it any which way unless we gave it coordinates. It doesn't affect anything else. If we put static there, well, let's just test it and see. I'm just going to quickly do that. Static. Let's see if that affects it at all. No. So we have to put relative or absolute or let's see. There we go. Now they're all inside the wrapper. So you'll notice, though, this is something to pay attention to. Since they're absolutely positioned, they don't make the wrapper div get any taller. So you would have to control the wrapper div's height on your own in the styling if you wanted to do that. But anyway, let's look at this. This is our stack of elements. We've got 1 way back here, 2 is the pink one, then 3, then 4. The default z index is 0. What do I mean by z index? Well, if you remember from geometry, the x-axis goes left to right, and the y-axis goes top to bottom. The z-index is forward and backward, so it's literally the level, the stacking of the elements as they come towards you. So right now the 4th div is the last one in the line of elements, so it's stacked on top. It's got since the default z-index is 0 for all of these, they just stack up in the order that they fall in the HTML. So if we go to our z-index, our CSS, and change the z-index, let's put z-index, I'm going to say, let me just grab something quickly so I can see what I did here. I'm going to say z-index, for 1, I'm going to say anything above 0 is great, is positive. So I'm going to say z index 5. And now the first div pops on top because it's got the highest z index. So the higher the number, the closer that element is to you, or you know, if in the virtual space. Now I could say -5, and it would move it behind everything. You see, now it's even behind the wrapper div because the wrapper div's z index is 0 as well. So let's just say z index 10 for the second element. Here we go. Now it is popped to the top. So you can decide how you want to stack elements using the z index. Let's keep going. Oh, let me just move this. All right, let's add a z index over here to number 3. You don't have to add a z index to everything. I'm just adding them to everything to just show you what I'm talking about. If you leave it alone, it'll just fall in the stack in the stack order of the HTML. Like if we look at the HTML, it would be the 1 would be on the bottom, 2 would be next, 3 would be next, 4 would be on top. But we're changing things around. So if we say z index 1 right now for the third element, there we go. It pops up. It's in front of the element with 0, the default z index, which is 4, and the wrapper div, but it's behind the element with a higher z index. And let's just take a look. The element in front of it has a z index of 10, the second div. So right now that one's going to be popping on top. But if we sit there and like, let's say, I'm going to say z index 100, just to be super sure that 4 is always on top. There you go. So I changed the order of things. I can go negative or positive because of course the farther back, the higher the negative, the farther back it goes. The higher the positive number, the closer it comes to you. It gets closer to you on the z index. So that is a little bit more on positioning.